Okay, so before we hop into your session, I'm just going to go over a couple of things. Before we connected, I pulled you some oracle cards. We're not going to go over them in the session, but I will send you pictures and guidebook descriptions, and then that'll be a deeper level of messaging. And then I asked each one of your crystals what kind of, not your crystals, I asked each one of your chakras what kind of crystals would help you with your healing and your growth. And I built you a crystal grid. And so I'll send you a picture of that as well. You don't have to do anything with it. It's doing the healing for you. But if you ever want a reboost from the session and the energy that we're encapsulating today, you can just look at it and it'll help pour back into you. And
Awesome.
then replay, I will have to you either today or tomorrow, depending on when it gets done processing. Does that sound okay?
That sounds great. Thank
Cool.
you.
Yes. And for the notes that you left me here, I see what I have to offer humanity as far as tools and how to create traction in those areas.
Yep.
We had 2 physical reality blips with our car breaking down and the dog bites.
Yep. Yeah.
And then questions about soul friends and potentially a partner. Does that all sound correct?
Yeah. And I'm not tied to those as far as like, if my higher self is like, now we're going over here, that's
Yes.
cool.
Okay. Also, I wanted to say I loved all the notes that you left. You have such like a positive, bubbly energy. I was like, oh, this person's like hype about life.
Yeah. Very much so. Like
Yeah.
I'm here to experience, and even the things that are more challenging, like
Yeah.
let's try.
Facts. It's all an experience, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so when I went into your energy fields, what I saw originally was there was a well, let's before we get into that, your higher self is like, hold on, slowly roll. Okay, so before we get into that, what is going on with your energy healing abilities? What exactly are we trying to create traction in?
So as far as like the traction point for me when I was writing that note was mainly around the offerings that I've like created. And I've created them over the course of the past like maybe year and a half or
Okay.
so. And like knowing that I'm getting these downloads slash whatever you want to call them, right? So many people have different channels, whatever. And I'm like, okay, these are supposed to exist out in the world. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're here. I don't know what to do. Like I'm not a huge like big marketing person. So I'm just like, okay, next steps with that. So that the traction piece there, and then also my own healing. Like I do my own inner work like daily. Like anytime I
Mm-hmm.
feel a trigger pop up, I'm like, I'm gonna look at that. Or if I have a physical
Yeah, I
ailment,
can
I'm
see
like,
that.
there's
You don't have a lot of stuff that's going on in your fields. You're
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah,
clear on
yeah. So
that.
I
Yeah.
feel like, and I ask for help when I feel like I need it. Like I'm at that place where I'm like, my ego isn't so big where I'm like, I got this. I'm just like, nah, like let's co-create together. So it's mainly like if there is anything that I'm kind of missing, because I have been
Mm-hmm.
kind of in this routine of like, I journal and I do this and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I like shaking things up. So if you're noticing anything that's like, here's another perspective to look
Yeah.
at this, feel free.
Okay, let's get into that. Okay, so are you doing your energy healing offerings full time, or you also got like a 3D job, or what's going on there?
So I have been working for myself since maybe 2020-ish, 2021. And I started by offering like help with small businesses and entrepreneurs. That's been the bulk of my like working experience is
Cool.
working with that. So I was like, oh, I can like start doing this on my own and like kind of contract stuff. And I've shifted into more of like offering um more like empowered mindset tools around and using play, because play, I see that as an energetic bridge from like knowing something to embodying something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like play is such a beautiful tool that is often underutilized. So
Well, that's
I
how we
mean,
manifest too. Like you gotta be up in here in your imagination.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay.
So I have all these ideas and tools, and I've kind of created a course around it and like a workbook and like all these things. And they're here, they're physical, like I
Mm-hmm.
have them, and they're just kind of like, and I've like started kind of putting them out there in different ways, but yeah, just not quite sure how else to present them to people.
Sure. Okay. So do you want to dig deeper into that aspect, like the business of it and the energetics?
That would be great. Cause yeah, it's so funny. I can help other people with their stuff. And then when it comes to my own business, I'm like, wait a minute.
Facts. That's why it's really good to co-collaborate and find other persons who are in the same realms as you because they give you new ideas and spark things and they do different, options. So yes, okay, so we're here today. Okay,
Yes.
so who are you marketing to? Like who are the clientele that you want with this? Because I could see where maybe are we trying to pull in 3D business people? Are we trying to pull in energy healers? Are we trying to pull in seasoned practitioners? Where are we going with this?
Yeah. So it feels very much because a lot of it isn't even business oriented. Like this is like beginning stages of empowerment type stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
just like figuring out, oh, I create my reality. Like, how do
Oh,
I
so
even
we're at
get to that
subconscious
point?
mindset reprogramming, like let's work
Yes.
on your self-concept and your
And I
confidence.
feel like it's a lot of like potentially neurospicy folks because a
Yeah.
lot of what I do is outside the box. It is not like a step one, step two, step
Right, right,
three. It's
right.
like, hey, try that, go walk in the woods and go do it's like all over the
Yeah.
place. So it's more of people who are on their own journey. I would say whenever I like think about this, it's like probably like 20s, 30s, maybe into 40s
Okay.
age group, and they're just kind of starting to figure out like, oh, I have more power in my life than I thought I
Mm-hmm.
did. And they could maybe have some spark of ideas for business, but there's so many blocks and things in the way of their own self-empowerment and self-love that like trying to create that would be really, really challenging at that point, you know? So
Yeah.
maybe somewhat 3D-ish because they're like leaving that, they're trying to
Yeah,
leave
they're
that.
trying to bridge over. You're trying
Yeah,
to catch people and bridge them over. Okay.
exactly. The bridge
So
is a huge part of what I do. Yeah.
how how with the languaging, how much of that is like spirituality context or like scientific based, or is it kind of a blending? Are you
It's a
using like
mix.
high esoteric languaging that persons would not understand if they were on that bridge scape over? Like, where are we at with that?
It's a mix. It's a
Okay.
mix. I mean, if people go into the depths of kind of what I do, I create videos and all these other stuff too. Like they're going to see the spiritual aspect of it, but I like to really bring it down into like things that people who haven't explored that could grasp. And
Hmm.
I like to give physical examples from my own life. I'm like, hey, this is where I used to be, this is where I am now, like sharing that story. So I use a lot of storytelling. It's not
Oh, that's
just,
great.
hey, do
Love that.
this. It's
Neurospicy people
like,
love that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Okay. But the spiritual languaging that we're using is not super way far out there, right? Like it's more tangible and grounded
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
persons. Okay, great. So you have a course. What does that look like? How long is that?
So there is like an entry kind of like tested out month-long thing where it's like each the way I structured it, the way it came in was like they're focusing on some sort of activity for about a week and they're doing it for a week and then they
Hmm.
transition into new ones. So I have like a month-long one where they're trying out 4 different activities. And then the whole thing that came in was a year-long thing. And it's not like they're spending like hours every day doing it. It is literally like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, whatever. So it's just meant to be as a supplemental thing that they're using throughout their life that like doesn't seem like it's disrupting much, but it really is.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Even 5 minutes can be like very life-changing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So is this something that is self-paced or are you going through the program with them?
So right now it's self-paced and I created like videos for everything.
Great.
So
Okay.
like I'm there, but I'm not.
Hmm.
And I thought about offering like additional like add-ons of like, hey, if you want extra help, like you can sign up for a one-on-one with me type thing. I'm really, there's a part of me that's like hesitant around that because I have so many ideas to create. And the more I lock myself into a box of like, oh, now I have to meet with this person, this person, this person, the less space and room I have to create more of what I want to create. So I'm really trying to like keep my time as open as possible and not lock myself into like, oh, between like, 12 and 4, you have to be sitting down at a desk doing these things. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I do. I definitely do. So I have an academy where And I'm going to recommend that I'm going to write this down. So, because I have a friend that you should go talk to about all of this stuff. Okay. So I have an academy where all of the course is self-paced. And then we meet on monthly Zooms as a group together so that I can do like activation activities, or they can do practice partners, or we can do live Q&A on the course content, things like that. So if you're wanting to facilitate that in some way, you could do group meetings with persons for that course, whether it's once a month or twice a month. Because are you offering individual sessions with persons, or do you have some type of like coaching program that you're doing as well? Or what does that look like? Do you want to do that?
That's the thing.
What does that scape look like?
That's the thing. I haven't I got my coaching certification or whatever, like done the 3D coaching thing.
Oh, like a life coaching. Okay.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And it never felt quite right.
Oh, that's because you're supposed to be doing spiritual coaching. But
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so I was like, all right. And yeah, I don't know. And maybe this is a stepping stone for me where I do offer that one-on-one occasionally. Because long-term, it just doesn't feel aligned for me to like stay there. Like this is going to sound maybe like, I don't know. It's going to sound how it's going to sound. Feels too small. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I don't think that sounds negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that like to do individual work with persons or group work with persons, or they want to build memberships and courses where they can reach more people. It's just depending on whatever your personality type is, right? So if you're not wanting to do group things or individual sessions, that's okay. Yeah. That is more of a inquisitory question for me and your higher self of what are the plans around that.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. It just there's a part of me that feels like locked in and feels like kind of boxed with that. And it could be part of me that just needs to be around that and just be like, this is a stepping stone. I'm trying to remain open, but I'm also kind of like about it, you know?
I do. Yeah, I have a lot of the same sentiments with my creations. Like, I'm like, you're not gonna box me in though. But at the same time, yeah, okay. So
totally.
All right. So let me see what your higher self's saying here. Hold on. Because there's a spiritual gift that we're going to talk about, but the reason that they were bringing up, hey, are we wanted to do individual sessions with persons, is because really the only way that you're going to be able to get better at that gift is by doing people sessions. Okay. But we'll get into that in a second. Okay. So with your course, what is the objective there? What is it that you are promoting to persons that they are going to be able to walk away with? Is this so that they are ready to step into a business, like you're energetically getting them ready, or a mindset? Because like with my academy, okay, I am not teaching people how to run a business. Right. I am shifting their energetics to be the practitioner that they need to be in order to have said business. Right. Yeah. So what does that look like for you?
Yes. So it is, and some of these people might not even know that they're going to start a business, but it is basically, there's nothing in the course that has anything to do with business, really. It is all about the energetics and the self-love component and self-belief component to get you to a place where you're like, I am stepping into my creator power, whatever that means. So if it's like, I'm just going to create more of what I love in the job that I already have, great, go do that. If it is, I'm stepping away from that and now I'm creating this business, great, go do that. But it's the shift from, it is the kind of what I am offering. It is the shift from, this is happening to me, and now I'm creating it.
Yes.
And I know I'm creating it, and I'm actively, consciously creating it.
Yeah, we're stepping outside of the programming and thinking that we are our thoughts and our trauma and things of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay. Are you going into, this is the question, are you going into talk about central nervous system or emotions or what subconscious mindset reprogramming is? Are we going into the depths of that?
Not as of yet.
Okay. Is that
those
something that you want to
downloads didn't come
potentially,
in, no.
is that something that you want to potentially put in there, or do we want to keep the course how it is now? And what we're trying to do is figure out how to better, like, do we need to restructure things within the program, or is it more of how should I be advertising and marketing this as it is right now? Because sometimes you'll have like a shift in your programming, and what's stalling it is because there needs to be something else in there, and that might not be the case. Just question.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I have known that the program is going to shift and evolve, and I haven't known
Mhm.
how.
Yes.
I've known just anything I create, that's what happens, and I'm
Sure.
very open to it. I'm not tied to it or attached to it. So I've known that its own consciousness or whatever is gonna tell me like, okay, this is what we're doing next, right? Cool, awesome. Um, and I haven't gotten any hits for that right at the moment. So right now it's just been like, how do I get it out there?
Yes.
Um, and attract the people that have been calling it in, because I wouldn't have gotten
Yeah, you
this.
wouldn't have creative unless they're
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, we have a good understanding of how all of the consciousness of the program works and all of that. Okay. So how are you marketing right now? What social medias are you on? Is this the main thing that you're doing right now, or do you have other things that you have going on?
So it is my main, like, as far as what I've created, the main thing that I'm kind of pushing right now. I don't have other things that I'm like, and do this and this and this. Like
Mhm.
I understand, as far as like working with so many entrepreneurs, I'm like, one thing, just energy on one thing. So, but I also like have one or two clients that I still kind of work with on the side occasionally. That's
Okay.
kind of rare, but I created a podcast. So I have a podcast on YouTube and Spotify that is about creation. It's empowered creator podcast. So I like started that.
What's the name of that so you can plug it here?
Yeah, it's the Empowered Creator Podcast. So yeah, it's just basically talking with people about how we create in our lives in so many different ways, create healing and create music and create connection with others, like just basically kind of priming people to that. Like, what does that look like tangibly in a lot of different people's lives? So I started that. That was another download I
What is
got.
it? The empowered.
Empowered Creator Podcast.
I'm gonna check that out too. Okay.
Yeah, and then
Is
yeah,
that
I'm
something that you're doing solo, or are you having guests on as well?
So I'm the one who like does all the behind the scenes stuff,
Mhm.
but it very much see it as a co-creative collaborative effort. Like I have other guests coming on, I have some regulars that come on. Um, and yeah, it's definitely not just me. So each episode takes a really long time because I'm not just sitting with one person. It's like almost like radio segmented style thing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which lends itself to kind of the neurospicy, like I can't pay attention to for 45 minutes on one thing. It's like, and we're talking about this and this and
Yes.
this.
I love listening to things like that. So I'm sure I will love your
Yeah.
podcast. Okay.
I was like, what would I like to listen to?
Yes.
Let's do.
Are you plugging your course within your podcast? Okay, cool.
Yep. And I have a segment on there where I lead like an empowering activity that's not in the course, but giving people kind of flavor of my
Oh,
vibe,
fun. Okay.
that type of thing. And I mention the course in there every episode.
Mhm.
And then I'm on TikTok and I do some videos there. And it's not all just like course, but it's like, this is Whit's vibe. This is kind of what I do. This is my story. This is how I went from like super, like not sure of myself to now I'm like creating things for the world, like, and all of that. So, and I got rid of Instagram and Facebook like almost a year ago, because I was like so over it.
Okay.
I'm not, well, the podcast has an Instagram, but I haven't really done a ton with that. But yeah, so those are my main things that I'm doing is like YouTube, Spotify, TikTok.
And like doubling down on TikTok. Okay. Do you
Yeah.
ever do any type of workshops or master classes or group meetings so people can be in your energy field and get a sense of who you are and what the course is going to be like? Because if you were not doing live, let me see how your higher self wants me to word it. If you were not doing live group meetings within your course, which is fine, oftentimes when people are looking at that, it's very static, right?
Mm,
And they're
yeah.
like, I don't know this person. I don't know what kind of energy they have. I don't know
Who
what
are
their
you?
teaching
Yeah.
styles. I don't know what their teaching styles are. All of these different things, right? So, are you doing anything to help people get a sense of who you are as a mentor and a teacher and a guide in real time?
Ooh, I have not.
And second question, so I don't forget, okay.
Yeah.
Also, do you have any type of promotional training that's like 45 minutes or something like that, where you're like, let me explain to you what this system is, what it's going to look like while you're going through it, and what the outcomes are going to be at the end. So like something that you can send to people of like, hey, go check this out.
Awesome. Okay. I'm going to answer both questions.
Yes. The first question is, are we doing something to help people get to know us outside of just the static course materials?
Right.
And just the
So,
TikToks, right?
right. I haven't done any like come join me in a master class situations yet.
Or ask me
Um,
questions, like a live Q&A.
oh, I
There's,
do. I
there's like
used to
so many
do,
different things you
yes.
can do there.
I used to do live TikToks and I just would ask people, what are you creating today? And I would
Mhm.
talk with people about like their own creations of the life and I would explain to them, you know, what I mean by that. It doesn't mean art. It can,
Sure.
but you
What does it
know,
mean to be a creative being and bring
yes,
things into
yes.
life? Have you
So
done
I've done,
a Zoom meeting with persons where they're meeting you face to face? Because that right there takes things up
okay,
a lot.
okay.
Because they want to be in your energy. They want to see your teaching style. They want to laugh and have fun with you and all of these different things. And it doesn't always have to be like, hey, this is me pitching the course, which you can't do that for sure.
Sure, sure.
But also, you leading things like that is helping you become a better leader and a better communicator. And it's helping you learn how to host group things if you wanted to in the future for something, right? But it's
Mhm.
also helping people at the same time. Like it is like
Yeah.
actually tangibly helping them, in their lives, like work through
Mhm.
things. But it's a beautiful way for you to pick up clientele for that course. And I don't know how
Mhm.
much your course is, and I don't know how much investment you want to put into, doing these things, but it's going to help you become a better overall person
Yeah, yeah,
and leader
yeah.
and communicator.
Awesome. I dig that. I dig that. Yeah, because I've just gone the route of like offering like those free things that a lot of people talk about, like, hey, here's a free,
Sure, that's not helping people get a sense of your
no, no,
energy and
it's
teaching.
not. It's not.
It's
And
not
that's,
helping.
it's not. I like put them out there and I'm like, and nothing. And I was like, so clearly these aren't what they're looking for. Got it. Got it. I tried two different versions of
Mhm.
it to test it out. Got it. Okay. So that makes sense. I haven't tried
And you can
that.
pick different topics. You could do like self-love, you can be a subconscious mindset reprogramming. Like there's so many different types. Like in your course, you probably have a million different things that you could talk about,
Yep.
right? And we want to pick topics that are in congruence with the program sequencing that we are trying to teach. Like this is why you need to know why this thing is so important. Like I do
Yep.
inner child healing ones sometimes, and I'm like, okay, people need to know about inner child healing, period. Okay,
Yep.
because that's the root of most stuff. Okay, so that's helping them just in general, right? But they also need to understand like why that's important.
Yep.
And at the same time, it is a promo for my academy. Like,
Yep.
like it all kind of just works in congruence with me being an energy healer. Same for you, right?
Yep.
So there's many different layers to how this would be beneficial for you to do.
Mm-hmm. I dig that. I dig that. This is so
You can even charge
helpful.
people to be in it too. It doesn't have to be free necessarily. If you want to do that, that's great. Charge $11, charge $20, charge however much you want to charge.
Right.
Because
Right.
they're still getting a ton of value out of you being there as the coach and the mentor and doing questions and
Mhm.
answers.
Yes. 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 Okay. Sweet.
And
That
then I
is
would
helpful.
also do some type of training. I just did one for my academy where I said, okay, this is my system that we work in. We go from central nervous system, emotions, subconscious mind story program, inner child healing. We go to different incarnations, the Akashic records, chakras, and I showed all out in a line This is how we work through this, and this is why you need to know all this information, and this is what you will get out of it at the end. I think that would be super beneficial for you to do, whether it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, so people get a full depiction.
Yes. Yeah, that was the second question, right?
That was the second question.
Yes. I have like an
Yes.
intro. I have like an intro video that anyone could watch. Like they don't have to get into the course to see it.
Yeah.
But I definitely could beef it up where it would be more thorough, what
Yeah.
you're talking about. So yeah, that's helpful.
And you could even do that as your free marketing as well if you wanted to do that. Like, yes, put it in your sales page or wherever that is, but you could also package it as let me explain however you want to word this, a holistic healing path. And then give that to them, because even if they're not getting into your course necessarily, it's still going to be beneficial for them to see like, oh, these are steps that I need to take in order to be in a good homeostasis in my life.
Yep.
Right. So that way you're doing double time. You're doing free marketing to get people into your email community, helping them, but then also promoting your thing too.
Yes. Yes. All of it. Awesome. Yes. That's super helpful. It's so funny. Like all these things like come to me when I'm helping other people. And then when it comes to my own stuff, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like that. Okay. So, oh, and also, is there any point that you want to do like mini courses that are like, again, I don't know how much your course is, but let's say that you have 10 different topics that you're covering in your big course. Okay. Do you want to split those down into smaller bite-sized ones that people can get like individually, like one off, that you can also filter people to your bigger one?
That, yeah. Cause I have like, so the course is called Empowered Mindset, and I have an Empowered Mindset Light, and it's basically just a teaser test.
Oh,
It was
cool.
so
Okay.
funny. I like had my higher self. I'm like, all right, out of the 50, I don't know, I think in total I have some bonus activities. There's like 58 or something activities. I'm like, I just spun a wheel with all the numbers. I'm like, higher self, let's pick.
Okay.
And I just picked
I love that one.
4
Yeah.
and like just trusted that those would be the best ones. And so that's like the condensed, like if you just want to try for like, I don't know, I put it at a really reasonable price of like $22 or something. Like just like try it and just see if you
Oh,
like
that's great. Okay.
but I like the idea of kind of doing that more intentionally with like,
Yeah.
okay, these all fit nicely together. This could be its own thing. Yeah. I
A
dig
little bit
that.
more intentional about like, hey, there's a process here and there's an outcome. Process, outcome. Like, I love what you did, and I think that's a light version of another light version that you're
Yeah.
do. Okay.
Totally.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm very like outside the box, like blah, but it doesn't always translate to the people who are like more type A. Like I like to know all the things, and I'm like, we like, yeah.
So I have a friend, and her name is Molly, and I'm going to send you her information. She actually helped me put my academy together because she has a background in course creation, and I know yours is already done and complete, but she might be able to help you like piece everything together. She really helped me get myself together because neurospicy, and I got a gajillion ideas and they're all over the place, and she helped me like streamline this thing. Okay. So I'll send you her information.
Come on, Molly, come on through. Let's
Yes,
go.
you'll love her. She's fantastic. You'll have good energy match as well.
Awesome.
Okay. So let's talk. Well, do you have any questions about any of this so far, or are there any other type of gaps that you are perceiving, whether it's in your social media or in your business structuring, or questions in those areas?
The only thing I can think of is like there's a little bit of a hang up of around marketing and playing the marketing game and knowing that like there are other ways to energetically, I don't know. I get so like up here sometimes with like energetically, I'm like doing all the things to put myself out there and like just feeling so annoyed with having to do.
The tangible, like 3D
Yeah, like I
mess.
get
Yeah,
so,
I
like
get
that is not
facts.
where my excitement lies at all.
Okay.
And so if I'm not feeling like making a TikTok video or whatever, I don't force it because I'm like, that
Yeah.
is not the energy I don't want to put. I don't want to put that out there. And I understand the algorithms and all that stuff. Like I understand like putting out a video a day or whatever like is helpful. So there is some hang up there where I'm just like, ugh. Like
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a very intuitive person and you're not gonna force me to do something.
no.
Okay. I'm like, no, sir. Okay. So I have gotten really good at getting a big tool bag of different options of things that I can do that continuously push my business forward. But I make sure that it's something that I have the energy for in that moment. Sometimes it's like I'm not making TikToks for a couple days, but I am getting ready for a master class or I'm doing something over here, right?
Yeah.
Or I am getting on TikTok live and talking about things, or I'm setting something up for my own, I don't call it a podcast, but like interviewing people, right? Like it's always something that we're doing here. So maybe the hang up that we have is either one, not doing those things. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Or feeling guilty that we are a very intuitive person as well. And we kind of just have to go with the flow and vibe. So
Yeah.
which one of those is it, or is it both?
I think it could be a little bit of both. Yeah. Um, and I've shed a lot of the, oh, you have to do it a certain way type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like if you could see, like I don't have any clocks or anything unless I have a meeting with people. Like I'm very free flowy. This is what I'm most excited about in this moment. This is what I'm going to focus
Yeah,
my
I'm
energy
very much
on.
that way as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so like I've shed a lot of the you have to be sitting at a computer 9 to 5 type stuff. Like,
Mhm.
um, but there is like this groundedness to some of that I'm like, okay, there can be a
That we're
compromise.
yeah, that
But
okay. Yeah.
yeah.
So we need a because I can see you keep a lot of stuff up here.
Uh-huh.
Okay. We need to bring that down here. So we need to be creating a list of what are some tangible marketing things that I enjoy when I'm in the energy for them and what can I rotate through while I'm on this journey. Okay. So for me, sometimes it is, I use a lot of, and I'm just going to give you some examples. Okay.
Yep.
Just other perspectives. Okay. So
Yep.
I use a lot of magical art and things of that nature for social media. So sometimes I'll go on Pinterest and just collect images. That's still helping me push forward because I'm going to need those in the future.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Or maybe I have something coming up and I need to work on an email, or I need to reach out to somebody for a co-collaboration, like for your podcast, or I need to work on some copywriting, or maybe it is a TikTok, or maybe I am talking about something within my academy. Like we need a list of all the different things, put it in your phone so that way when we're getting kind of stumped, which one of these do I have energy for right now? Because you will
Yep.
end up rotating through all of them because you will be in the energy at some point. It works kind of like a
Yep.
clock, okay, just going around.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
need, and that will help you feel more I don't like using the word productive, but that we're making more forward movement because we're always continuously doing something, but it allows enough for our intuitive flow and our creativity to keep us moving forward.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And now you have some extra ones like with let's work on a group Zoom meeting or something like that, or the training.
Yep. Yep, a list will be helpful. It's so funny because like before, I don't know, masking, unmasking, I know there's a lot of word, but before I kind of fully was embracing more of me, I was so type A and I had lists everywhere, lists on lists on lists, and I
Same.
was like functioning in that
Yeah.
space. And then the minute I was like, I don't have to do this, I'm like,
Sure.
what? So there is again that compromise there of like having it available, seeing it. I'll probably make art around it and have a list that's like beautiful to look at,
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
So then I can actually like, yeah, when I have the energy flow that's coming through, I'll be like, which one Okay, cool.
It's just
I
a
dig
little
that.
structure. Just a
Yes.
little
Yes.
structure.
It's not tying me down to anything.
Not
It's just there.
authoritative or boxing
Oh,
in. It's just like,
yeah.
hey, this is a list when I don't know what I should be doing or what I could be doing. Not should, what I could be doing.
Yes.
A little bit of structure over here.
Yes.
I
Yes.
have a
Yes.
whiteboard that's literally over here and it has projects, goals, travel, stuff I need to do for my home. And I just have like lists. And so I just like, okay, well, I have some free time. What do I want to pick from here?
Yes.
Yeah, it hones it in a little bit more.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So let's talk about this spiritual gift that wanted to come through here. Okay. So when I went into your energy field, I said, hey, I'm Sage, introduced myself, and this witch lady came forward and she pointed and I said, oh, what's over there? And she said, fear of persecution. I said, okay. And I started talking to your energy body. And when I was speaking to her, she said, the way she was describing it, I said, oh, that's not fear of persecution. That's fear of you not, or you fully showcasing your magic and you feeling like it is not going to be received in the way that you want it to be received. I said, that's not exactly fear of persecution, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was phrasing it in that way though. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I get that, but not quite, but yes. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I told her everyone experiences imposter syndrome. Everybody. I do at every single level that I hit. Okay. I said it's what you do with it that really counts. Are you going to push forward regardless to show yourself what you're capable of? I said confidence is a skill. It is not always something people inherently have. Okay. It's something that is learned over trial and error and with a lot of patience and
Yeah.
things not working out. And you just continuing to push through. Okay.
Yep.
So I said, well, what do you want to do? And she said, I want to activate people's templates like you. And she was talking to me. Okay. And I was like, oh, let me go get this card. So I don't know. Can you see this? It's like
Yes.
a tree and it has like all of this. Okay. So when I'm activating somebody, this is kind of what it looks like inside of their energetic field. And this is the imagery that she showed me. Okay. So I asked her what she meant by that because activating people can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And when I looked at her in her chest, all of that grid started moving, and then she had these big old fairy wings that popped out. And I said, oh, I said, you want to work with people with mythological creatures and helping them remember that they have fairy lifetimes or elf lifetimes, or working with goblins or gnomes or
Yeah.
whatever, all these magical beings. Okay? And helping
Yeah.
them remember if they were one in a different incarnation, if they've had a spirit guide here or in different ones as well, if they have. I asked her to give me some examples. Okay, so she said fairy, elf, Pegasus, phoenix, unicorn, sprites, and then she said minotaurs, which I thought was really interesting. And I was like, oh, you mean like all mythological creatures?
All of
She
them.
was like, yes. So a lot of people can channel those energies as well to utilize for whatever they want to do. Okay. And I said, oh, you're so imaginative and like creative. I said, you must have really enjoyed, mythology as you were, growing up. And she was like, yes. And so what comes up for you when you hear that?
I mean, that feels very aligned with the like empowerment work. It's like another level to the empowerment work that I've already started like putting
For
out.
sure. You got to get
It's
people to where you're at before you can even get people.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What are you talking
Right.
about? Very yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, even being open to that idea. Yeah, I mean that feels, especially with helping people getting to the point where they can channel in that energy for their own,
Yeah, empowerment for sure.
whatever, like all of that is exciting. I mean, I do that. I mean, I do that a lot with like plants and other things too. If I'm doing my own healing, I'm like, and I'm sure there's something over here. Okay, let's do that. So I feel like allowing people to even first see that it's an option, but then helping them tune into what that actually is and feels like that sounds really, really cool.
Yeah. And when people are imbuing that into their energy field with fairies and unicorns and dragons and, you know, all this different stuff, it really helps you see beyond the 3D. It makes your life like so much more fun and whimsical and magical, and like you're able to manifest so much easier. Like it really does have so many benefits to it, because you're not living in the boring AF 3D like structure that's been created of like capitalism.
Right,
Stuff,
right.
You start seeing like, oh, there's so much more to life. Okay?
Yes.
And there's all these different
Yes.
dimensions and frequencies and different incarnations, and like it really just starts opening up people's multidimensional awareness, and it's just fun and it's creative. It's very inner child like stuff.
Yes. And
Okay.
that rings with the like play aspect that I bring to
Absolutely.
everything. It's like, yes, you can choose to go down a more serious path if you
Mhm.
want. And I go in and out of that, right? And it's so much more enjoyable when I'm in play and when I'm just like, you know, getting my hands in all the things. So yeah, I feel like that very much resonates with, yeah, the path that I'm already like walking down.
Mhm.
And it just kind of feels like it's widening the path even more.
Yes, because okay, the things that you talk about in your course, love that. Magical, so helpful. Boring. Not okay. Not to those people, but to you, that is more like advanced. Okay. And you're
Yep.
like, this is like baby knowledge.
Yes.
Okay, which
Yes.
is fine. Everybody needs that. You and I needed that at some point, right?
Yep.
But we get stagnant in our own growth because we just talking about this stuff over here constantly, and it really
Uh-huh.
pulls you away from your own magic and like the things
Yeah.
that you're capable of in your life. Okay, so that's probably why this is coming in right now, because it's
Yeah.
like, hey, we need to expand. Because what's past this course? Where are we headed? What are we doing? How are we bringing in the new earth and the magic and the dimensions and the free, like, what are we doing over here? Right.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've just recently got invited to an event in Scotland, like to lead some activities
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
in Scotland. And it is a New Earth celebration event.
Cool.
Like it's 3 days. And it's like, I don't know how many of us there are leading things, but that like came out of nowhere. And I was like, not
Wasn't ready for
nowhere,
that.
not nowhere. There was,
Right.
yeah, there was a thing. And it's been interesting because the things that I'm channeling for that obviously
Mhm.
aren't like necessarily super related to the course that I created. Like, because these are all people that are very aware and very um interested in all of the magic and all of the stuff. So everything that's coming through for that like has been so quick and so awesome and exciting. So yeah, it feels like that is a stepping stone towards what is
Mhm.
after the course. Um the course almost feels like it almost just feels like an introduction of who's Whit in this lifetime. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like this is my
Yeah, this is
energy.
how I healed my 3D human.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the chapter that I'm teaching you.
Yes.
What your higher self is saying, who's beyond that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's chapter 2 to 10? Okay.
Well, chapter 2, yeah, chapter
Okay.
2 is definitely,
And the reason that she's saying that is because, okay, so in my academy, the first portion of that, boring, is
yeah,
okay, but is fundamental stuff though. Like you cannot become a seasoned practitioner, energy healer, whatever you want to do until you do level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, with all the subconscious mind reprogram and central nervous system, all this stuff over here. Okay,
yep,
the carrot and the stick for people to do that first portion is, oh, you want to do this stuff over here, you got to do this stuff over here. So
yeah,
even though, let's say that you go down this path of like, let's start talking about mythological creatures and how to channel those and open up people's templates.
mm,
That's the hey, you got to take this course in order to be able to do this stuff over here, because that gets people really excited.
yeah,
That's a cool end goal. Yes, the end goal of self-love, great. Confidence, great. We all love that,
right,
everything. But then there can be a further end goal as well
yeah.
of like, hey, this is the short term, but this is the long term over
I
here.
almost
This
feel
is what
like
you're
a
trying
lot
to
of
get
people
to.
though won't even buy into the self-love. They're like, yeah, I want to see magical
I want
shit.
to see the magic, right? Well, that's a lot of people.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
And
is. It
I
really
hit him
is.
with the cold hard facts when we get into the course and things of that nature of like, hey, I had to do a ton of trauma and PTSD work and go on a very intensive self-love journey and just do so much human healing. This stuff's easy after you get through all of this stuff over here. But
Yep.
you got to teach those things, right?
Yep.
But your higher self is saying, hey, if we do kind of make this pivot a little bit and we start talking about these things and like offering these things, it's not going to detract. It's going to amplify people wanting to participate in your course because it's like, hey, I had to go through this stuff in order to become this person over here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an added end goal.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And then maybe
Okay.
you do a whole nother course like this is 101 and this is 102. Okay. Over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So the imposter syndrome that was coming up, she was like, well, I don't know how to do that. How to help people unlock their energetic templates. And I said, do you think I knew how to do that in the beginning?
Yeah.
And I said, no, ma'am. I said, that is something that I had to learn over time. Okay. Now I am going to give you some tips if you want to go in that direction. Okay.
Yeah.
One of those is, do you want to, because you have a different system than I do. So do you want to help people do that individually through sessions, or do you want to potentially create some type of course where you help people do that on their own? I love helping people do that in real time, one-on-one, but it could be packaged up in a course like you're doing now.
I mean, and it's so funny because as we've been talking, like, yes, the empowered mindset is boring because I'm like, been there, done that, got it. But now
It's
there's a
gonna
shift.
challenge you.
Yeah, there's a
Challenge
shift in my
you.
mind where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, if I'm the template stuff feels more open to the one-on-ones. That
Yeah,
feels more exciting to me because I'm actually talking shit that I actually feel excited about. Like,
for
more
sure.
excited about. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's also going to be challenging for you because subconscious mindset reprogramming and like all that stuff that you talk about, that stuff's easy to talk about.
yeah. Yep.
Esoteric stuff is more difficult to pull out into languaging, into purvey is not the right word, to convey to people. And
Mhm.
so that is going to push you as a communicator as well to be able to do that in the first place.
Yeah.
Because I think you like challenges.
I do.
Like I need to continue to push myself.
Yep,
Yes.
constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that'll do it. Okay. So one of the things is learning how to, okay, well, if you want to do it as in a course, that's going to be a little bit different. Do you want to do it in a course or do you want to potentially do it in like sessions with people in the beginning so that you can get like kind of hands-on experience with people?
Yeah, the one-on-ones feel more exciting for it. I feel like, I mean, I don't have it right now, but I feel like a course will probably come through or something that feels more like that. I don't know.
Yes.
There's something that I can't quite grasp that feels more course-like, but it isn't a course. I don't know what it is, but it's
Yeah,
something.
it could be a lot of different things. I will say that one of the reasons that your higher self and I keep on suggesting sessions is when I do, and this is a type of Akasha work. Okay. So when I am meeting with people and doing sessions, I am continuing to learn so much in their Akasha fields from the different dimensions that I have access to and the different frequencies and the different type of etheric and cosmic beings. It's not just me working with that person. Like, yeah, sure, I'm activating templates with them and that's great. And I'm learning about all these different creatures and beings and stuff. But they also have these spirit teams that I'm portal jumping to all of these different planets and systems, and I'm just like making my Akasha field like expand exponentially. So if
Yep.
you want to grow as a practitioner and somebody that has real advanced uh knowledge and wisdom and reach, doing sessions with people is going to help you get there. And then
Yeah.
when you do the course too, like you'll have so much more to put in there as well.
Yep. I'm writing it down.
So something that helped me get to this place is learning how to get into theta brainwave states. Okay, we got to learn how to get in deep meditation. Okay.
It's so
And
funny. I've been like meditating and stuff for like years and years, and still my brain's like,
right.
yeah,
So one, active meditations is really great for that. You don't always have to be sitting. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you can be moving your body and things of
That
that
is my preferred mode. Yep.
nature. Yeah. If we are being a little bit more intentional with our meditations of saying, I want to specifically work on my energetic template activation gift, I need to start meeting different beings, whether that be different incarnations of you, because you're going to have, you know, a plethora of things, especially because you have this template, you're going to have all kinds of stuff back there in your field. Okay. But I need to start intentionally meeting with different incarnations of me. I need to meet with fairies. I need to meet with elves. I need to meet with dragons. Like I need all of these guides to start coming forward to teach me. I need them to take me to different planets and different dimensions and different frequencies. Like I need to start really astral traveling. A segue into that is there is this lady on YouTube. Her name is New Horizons, is her channel.
Okay.
She has children's meditations, okay, for children, but I do them with my inner children. That's how I first started. And she has a bunch for fairies and dragons and elves and gnomes and like all these different things. So doing that or finding energy healers and practitioners that also do those type of meditations, because there's lots of them out there.
Yep.
Okay. Are you okay on time, or are you okay to go over a little bit, or are you rushed on time?
I'm good on my end. I
Okay.
just want to be respectful of the work you're doing. Yeah.
Oh, we're good. I'm excited. We're gonna get into it.
Okay.
So activations with JJ.
Okay.
She has a lot of those type of Merlin, the wizard, you know, all different types of things you can like get deep into. Okay. What else did I write here? Let's see. Okay, doing meditations, we need to be getting our hands on as much fantasy, cinema, and books and arts as possible. Because are those exact representors of these different things and templates? No, but it will give you kind of a tiptoe in. And so that when those things do show up in your field, you're like, oh, that's a fairy, that's a dragon, that's a minotaur, all those different things. So anime, books, TV show, movies. I have a whole master list if you want to, of like a ton of that stuff if you want that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, I tend to gravitate towards that stuff anytime I'm like, okay, I don't watch a ton of TV at this point. A lot of it, like, I get really annoyed by. So I'm just like, nope. But if I do, it tends to be more the fantasy type stuff. That is what I'm just like, this is exciting. The books that I read tend to be young adult
Same.
fantasy stuff.
Fantasy.
So,
yeah. Or even if it's not TV or movies or things of that nature, like books is great too. Or just going on Pinterest and looking at magical art and things like that, or doing meditations. Lots of different ways that you can do it. But we need to be getting as much as that energy into our field as we can, because it is going to help you. It seems like, oh, it will.
Cool.
Okay. So when I started doing energetic template sessions with people, not that you have to do it this way, but I said, you know what, I'm just going to play around with this and I'm going to see what happens. And I started charging people like $22 to do them. And what I would do is I'm not meeting with them. I am going into meditation, speaking to their higher self and their guides and saying, hey, I'm here for XYZ. Okay, I'm here for Whit. Can you show me any different incarnations that they've had, or whatever energetic template that they need activated right now, what kind of lineages they have, whatever information that they need to hear or perceive, how they can further like develop this gift or understanding of self, get all that information. And I would just send them a voice note recording. But at the same time, I would also make a video for social media, and I put that in the copy of, I am going to post this on social media for other people to learn and grow and evolve, because 2 reasons. One, it helps you book more of them because
Yeah.
people
Like,
are
this is what
seeing
I
your
get out of
processes.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
But it's also activating other people that have those templates as well. Right. So there's a bonus there. And it's also helping people get a sense of your magic, what type of energy you have. So it would be beneficial for your other things that you have, like your courses and things like that, because you're like, oh, this is how I got here, is by doing this stuff in this course when they ask.
Yep. Yep. They're like, wait a minute. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And so that takes a little bit of pressure off as far as one, it's a very low investment. Because sometimes when we attach money to things and we're not sure if we can do it or like how it's going to look, right? Let's just do some test runs. Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
And then as you get a little bit more confident with it, then you can start kind of like upping that a little bit. Now, if you feel confident enough to be meeting people on Zoom and just doing it right out, do that. I'm just giving you the way that I did it. One, because I can get deeper into people's energy fields if I'm not talking to their human.
Yeah.
Because human got a lot of different layers with their psyche. They're asking questions, they're doing all this.
Yeah.
Love that. Just like we're
Sending
doing
a lot your
right
way.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing that kind of session right now, and I love doing those. But if I'm trying to get deep in their Akasha fields, doing it in my own time is a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I went down the animal communication path for a while, and I've done it off and on.
Mhm.
And yeah, anytime I was doing anything more live, I was like, this is a lot. There's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
layers. A lot of layers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an option, just an option that you can do. And that's how I did it. And it was very easy. And then I started doing a ton of them. And then I was like, oh, snap. Like, I'm really good at this. This is one of my most prominent gifts. Like, I'm very good at that. And it will be for you too, because you have this template. And so then I just started upping it. And then I started making more videos. And not only now I call them spiritual gift activations, or I've done like multidimensional chakra scans in the past, but it feeds into the other things that I'm doing too. People are like, oh, now I want to meet you on Zoom for like an Akashic record reading. Oh, how do you do these things? Oh, I want to join your academy. Like, it's a tier system into other things as well. And you're also very much harnessing your channeling and spiritual gifts at the same time. Like you are up leveling at an accelerated pace with this while meeting with persons like that. What questions do you have about this?
I mean, you hit on a lot of the things that I was going to ask. I'm like, where to even start, man? Like, damn. The theta brainwave state feels like ultimately like where I want to like focus like first, as far as like honing in on those, whether I'm moving or whatever. I'm trying to think of questions.
Do you know what, have you ever heard the term SATS, state akin to sleep?
I haven't heard that exact word, but I think I know what you're saying.
Like something around that. Okay. It's this state of being where you are almost asleep, but not quite asleep, right? Like you're able to get into your subconscious and like root around in your ego mind and like with your inner children and things. It's kind of like that when you are in theta state in your Akashic records. It's almost like, when you're in a pool and your head's above the water, but then you dunk it under and it's like a lot denser down there. That's the feeling state that you need to get in, that state of channeling, in order to access template stuff with people.
My body remembers a few instances I've done that unintentionally. So I'm just recalling those right now of like, oh, remember when you saw your dead cat and she was crawling over you? That was that state. Hey, remember when you saw two of your guides floating? Yep, that was that.
You can see through the veil a lot easier when you're in that state and you kind of detach from your human and your ego. So you're able to just perceive things more clearly. So the way that I learned to do it, and not that you have to do it this way, but there's, who Dr. Joe Dispenza is?
Yep, I've been actually just recently jumping into some of his meditations.
Perfect. Okay. So he has I don't know if you're a reader, but he has a book called Becoming Supernatural. And he really talks a lot about what I would assume is in your course, but on a deeper level, which not saying you need to do that, because people need introductory things.
Yeah.
Okay. But maybe you do like a round 2, part 2. But that's where I learned how to get into theta state, is by reading that book and doing the practices. He
Okay.
is fantastic. Even if you don't read the book, just do some research about him and theta brainwave states.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched his newest documentary recently too. I can't remember what it's called, but where he got a bunch of doctors involved with the state that different people get into when he's leading his retreats and
Mhm.
stuff. And now there's like scientific evidence behind what he's doing. I
Yeah.
was like, I like how he's coupling both.
Yeah, the
So the people
science and
who,
the magic.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good
The
bridge.
people
Yeah.
have something to grasp. They're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, well, and that's what you're trying to do too. You're like, hey, let's root some of this in 3D, like physical reality, and then sprinkle over here.
Yeah, yeah. Some
Yeah.
pizzazz. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, definitely theta brainwave states going. We need to go be shamanic journeying would also
Mm,
be really beneficial for you to do some research on, and I will send you some videos to
okay.
watch as well because that's a part of this. Okay, journeys. Have you connected to any of your different incarnations yet?
Um, I have I'm aware of some, but it's been through assistance of other people. So it
Mhm.
hasn't been me directly being like, oh, I discovered this. It has been someone else kind of like bringing it into my awareness. And then I kind of like try to expand the picture, if that makes sense.
It does.
So a little bit,
Okay.
um, a little bit.
Okay. So how in depth do you want me to go with these steps? Because I can give you more if you want of things that you need to be able to do in order to get here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
go for it.
Okay. I will send you resources as well to like kick you off and things that help me. Okay. So shamanic journey is one of them. We
Okay.
need to learn about parallel realities,
Mm-hmm.
the observer effect. I'm gonna write these down. Parallel realities, the observer effect, how timelines work. Okay. Okay, observer effects. When you are first doing past life, I don't even like to call them past lives because they're all happening at one time. Okay.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but they're all quantified as past lives in text. Guided meditations to connect with your past lives is a beneficial way to kick it off. You can find
Mm,
a bunch of them on YouTube if you want to start there and set that intention of I am doing this because I want to speak with the incarnations that are going to help me with this energetic template activation gift. And just do like 5 or 6 of them there just to kind of boot it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
then boot it into the system. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Um, what else are right here? Okay. One of the things that your higher self wants you to know with this is it has a lot of different capabilities. One, telling people if they have been one of these type of beings before, helping them channel that energy, helping them pull mentors through that are different incarnations or etheric cosmic beings, pulling different spirit guides forward to be on their team. Lots of different things that you can do within that.
Yeah.
You'll just keep expanding and expanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your clairvoyant abilities? Do you know?
So, I mean, I know people talk about the clairs and they talk about the main ones that I feel like there's like way more beyond that that aren't
Sure.
even talked about,
Sure.
but the knowing one has been my strongest since I was a little kid and it hasn't ever really gone away. Am I listening to it all the time?
Yeah.
Throughout my life? Eh.
Okay.
Um, I would say that's probably my strongest. And then as far as like, what is the one where you're seeing stuff?
Oh, clairvoyance.
That one is off and on.
Okay.
Um, sometimes it is very, very strong, and sometimes it is not. Occasionally, I've heard some things. Again, that's pretty spotty. Um, I would say my knowing one is the one that's like every day there's like it's consistent. Um, and then whatever the other ones are,
You might also be
feeling.
clairsentient. Yeah, with the feeling,
The
clairsentient,
feeling, yeah, the
feeling.
feeling is amping up, feels like.
Sure.
Because there's some stuff that I'm like feeling in my body that I wouldn't normally pick up on. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for you to be a seasoned practitioner, really all of them, we really need to be trying to amplify all of them. Clairaudient and clairvoyance are probably going to be your next ones that we need to like hone in on. But there's other ones outside of that too, like clairgustance where you're tasting, or clairsalience where it's like your nose and all these different things. Those can come a little bit later. Clairvoyance and clairaudience are probably ones that you need to buckle down on, because that's going to help you with your energetic template gift activation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So with those, now, before we finish up here, I did want to say with the car breaking down and the dog bites. Okay. Did you get bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
My body currently right now, like I'm sitting down, it happened to my legs, and this is like, I think day 6 or 7 afterwards. So
Got
I'm in a
it.
pretty decent mood this morning compared to a couple days ago.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So there's two different schools of thought here.
Uh-huh.
And I was talking to your higher self about this before we got on here. So my initial was they're trying to give you a wake up call. Like there's sometimes we're not listening and we're needing to pivot somewhere, and we're not creating enough forward movement because of imposter syndrome, or we're just thinking in our own head. I mean, you're making movement here because we're collaborating and talking and all these different things, right? But oftentimes it's like trying to get us to stop and to like look around.
Yep.
Because they'll be like, these will get louder and louder until you listen to us.
Totally.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's one school of thought. The other school of thought is, what do you want it to mean to you? Because you're the creator of your reality. So like, what do you want it to mean? Do you want it to be a wake up call, or do you want it to be shit happens?
Right. Right.
That don't mean anything about me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is right. That's like, those things happen in life. And sometimes, we get regurgitations of things that have happened in the past to show us like how we would handle it differently than we have previously, to show us how much we've grown and evolved.
Yep.
So it's really like, what meaning do you want to attach to it?
Yeah.
There's no cosmic thing that's being like, well, this is why that happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there does become a point, and your higher self wants me to say it like this, because the way that people's consciousness works, sometimes attaching meaning to things do help them work through it.
Sure.
Okay. Then you hit this level of, I'm the creator, and what I say is what it is. And you're kind of, so this might also be a lesson in like, what consciousness level are we sitting at right now?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's definitely been helpful. I've squeezed my own meanings out of it. Just of like, oh, the way I reacted to this, or certain things that came up in my body during this whole situation. Like now I know to work through certain things, kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, had I not had those experiences, it would have come up again, but I probably would have taken a different path to realize it. So that's what I'm doing. And I've also come to realize, because I'm like friends with a lot of different people that tune into a lot of different things. Like I'm kind of surrounded by that. And the narrative around those being, especially the dogs being attacks, did not resonate at all with me.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Like they went the like, this is hounds of hell shit. Like that's what they were saying. And I'm like,
yeah, sometimes it's to check your own, like truth and like the type of relationships that you have, like, things like that too. So.
Totally. I'm like, you can view it that way if you want. And for me, I don't feel like that's what it is. And I'm not going to take that as such. So just
maybe
for
it's
me,
a lesson in sovereignty. Like that could be a lesson that you pull up out of there, right?
Yeah. Yep. I am creating my own kind of deal around it. But yeah, for me, it was just, even when I wrote that, I was like, I kind of already know what I'm
we
feeling
like to
about
check
it.
though.
Yeah. See if
your
I'm
higher
missing
self is
anything.
giving me what does she want it to be?
Yeah.
So, I was like, oh, she's at the consciousness level where she can just be like, oh yeah, I can decide.
Yep.
Now with the soul friends and partner, one of the reasons that you probably have not been pulling in those persons is because you're not fully expressing your magic in the way that you were able to.
That makes sense.
You are like a super magical being. I can tell. And like the people who are experiencing your course and the realms and dimensions in which you're creating, they're getting a light version. But we've needed to be in that version in order to create that stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Like you've been having to be in that consciousness in order to um it's almost like you have to pull your frequency back to the versions of you that you have been in order to resonate and to like help people understand. Like you can get real bogged down in that. Okay.
That's why I stopped doing the TikTok lives with that, because I was like
Yeah.
feeling so drained after. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
It's
God.
pulling you back to old identities and old
Yeah.
consciousness, right?
Yep.
Well, you need a carrot. Okay.
Yeah.
We need something personally that we're working on that is pushing and growing and evolving us and is getting us really excited, like the magical gift activation stuff over here. But at the same time, that's where your people are at.
Mm.
Like when I started really getting into that, that's when the real woo-woo friends started coming out of the woodwork and they would book sessions with me and all of a sudden we're besties. And they're
Yep.
like super core people in my life right now. But I wasn't the match for the friends that I wanted in my life until I started really expressing that fully. And then they started coming in, and now we're co-collaborating and building so much magic together. And we all have similar soul missions of the New Earth paradigm. And so it spreads across so many different layers, right? They're all coming with you making this shift for yourself. This is a shift for you, not just for other people, but for you to fully come out of that cocoon. Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, but they're there. But
Yep.
you have to get yourself there.
That has been the thing. I'm like, I feel them. Like I can feel them.
I can
And
see
I'm
like a
like,
whole little group of people over there. Like it's
yeah.
like
And I'm
5 or 6
like, where
people.
are you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because you haven't, it's because they're probably on the same path as you right now, like the trajectories, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And it doesn't make energetic sense for you to be together yet. You both
Yep.
have to kind of reach this level, but you're like right there. Like right there. Like today is you starting that new journey.
Yep.
Yes.
Totally.
And for
Totally.
them to start coming in into that reality.
Yep. That's so fun. It's so funny because like I haven't for a while booked a session
Mhm.
with somebody. For the longest time I've been doing my own thing. And I've seen you pop up on my feed a few times. I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna work with her at some point. I just don't know when. And then I got bit by the dogs. And I'm like, okay, I am stuck. I am stuck here. So I'm gonna book my
Yes.
session and I'm just gonna see what her perspective is. And it's so funny. It's exactly the fire I need lit under my ass right now.
Yeah. Well, and just like you got that ping to meet with me because you were ready to like level up in your etheric magic, right? You going this route is now opening the windows for those persons to come in
Yep.
because now we're saying, oh yeah, this is me. I can do this. This is what I want to do. And this is going to help me with the things I'm already doing, right? It's just that
Mhm.
next step for you that instead of 101, we're at 102.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes. Okay. Any questions about the things that we talked about?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I took some notes and I know you recorded stuff and
Mhm.
all that. So I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. This has been amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to send you a big old long list of resources. Okay. And you do them in your due time.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And also, just because I send you things doesn't mean they're going to resonate with you. Like,
Yep.
like if something doesn't feel right or sound right, you go find your own things.
Totally.
Okay.
Yep. I'm right on that page.
Yes.
I mean, anytime I meet with anybody new, I'm like, you're amazing and gifted. And also this one thing that, no.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can
And
resonate with 99%. That 1%, you're like, no, dog, that's not for me.
totally,
Okay.
totally.
I'm going to send you Molly's information as well if you want to get with her about course creation or she can help you with master classes or things like that. What was your biggest takeaway today?
Oh my gosh. My biggest takeaway, I am the feeling, okay, how do I articulate this? The feeling that I'm way more magical than I am expressing. Like I've known that, but just getting the confirmation that, yeah, and there's way more beyond what you're doing right now. That is my biggest takeaway of that feeling. Like I've had that feeling growing for the longest time, and I'm like, I don't know what like I feel like I'm doing some magical shit. Like what? So this kind of feels like the biggest takeaway is like breaking that open. I'm like, okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's step more fully into it. Let's go.
You already are a template activator. That's why you were drawn to make that course, because you're activating like self-love templates and confidence
Yeah.
templates and things like that, so we already are one. But yeah, there's so much, and one's not better than the other.
Right.
They're both
Right.
needed, right? But for you to be a template activator of things like fairies and elves and gnomes and goblins and mythological creatures, you're a very magical-esque being to
Mhm.
be able to do that. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
right. So if that's a confirmation that you need, like
yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
for sure. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna send you your oracle cards and your crystal grid, and then I'll send you the replay either today or tomorrow when it gets done processing. Also, if you ever need people to practice on, which honestly I don't think that you need people to practice on. I think you probably just given energetic template sessions already. But if you do need people to practice on, I have my academy students that feel free, and then I'll send some of them your way. They're energy healers and practitioners. They're a little bit deeper into their journey, so it'd probably be a little bit easier to read them because there's not so many filters.
Mm-hmm.
It's human psyche and things of that nature. But you don't necessarily need to do that, but available if you need.
Thank you. So
Yes.
many resources, so many things.
Yes.
I didn't really know what to expect coming in. I tried to keep it open, and I was like, just blew it all out of the
Your
water.
higher
So
self was like, "Oh, we sitting down together? Okay, let's go." Okay.
yeah, they don't really mess around. They're like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. They're like, give them all of this.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Well, it was lovely meeting you. Love your energy. I'm very
So
excited to
lovely.
see what you do. And I'm going to check out your podcast. And everybody that watches this, go check out the podcast as well. Empowered Creator Podcast.
Awesome. Thank you
Yes,
so, so much.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. You have a magical day. Okay.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.